long hot boring summer of no football is upon us, and the agonising wait for our annual EA release is months away. Us football fans have nothing to do but twiddle our thumbs as we watch our blank television idly waiting for either the season to start or FC 26 to launch. But lucky for us all, a game that has been dubbed Rocket League without cars has been released on consoles and PC to help us pass the time, and maybe, just maybe, be good enough and fun enough that when EA do drop their yearly footy sim, formerly known as FIFA, we don't want or need to buy it. Or is it yet another faux football game that misses the point of the beautiful game entirely and is more buggy than a Ubisoft remaster? Is the online play engaging and cooperation based, or pure luck and fluke, devised from a multitude of physics errors and mechanical bugs? What are the trophies and achievements like? Is the road to 100% or platinum a grueling challenge only suitable for the truly hardcore gamers among us who have the button input so fast that you swear they were bionic?
And of course, there's only one way to find out. So let's go play some Rematch.
Rematch is an online PvP soft football simulator that has three primary game modes: 3v3, 4v4 or 5v5. The game promotes itself as a fast and exciting football experience that utilises skill, speed and extreme flexibility. For those of us willing to pony up 40 quid for the Elite Edition on PS5, the Rematch adventure began 72 hours before Thursday's general release. £20 Standard Edition on PlayStation, or a quid more on Steam. For Xbox players, the Standard Edition is available on Game Pass. So was it worth spending 40 of the King's Gold coins for 72 hours early access, a couple of captain passes and an old man's avatar?
Well, no, not really.
The early access was a buggy mess with mechanical issues galore, physics that make the game more nauseating than enjoyable, and yeah, had a ton of buggy trophies and achievements, seemingly across all platforms.
Now that is not encouraging, but let's not get melodramatic here. This is exactly why we have early access, so that the devs can see what works, what doesn't work when more players start playing, and can fix them before general release. That is the whole point of them.
Rematch is the third game from SloClap, a Parisian studio formed in 2015 by former Ubisoft developers who'd worked on stuff like Ghost Recon and Watch Dogs. SloClap debuted with Absolver 2 years later in the online-based martial arts focused co-op that has mixed reviews, but they followed that up with the masterful Sifu, which captured the company's aims perfectly as it rewarded player improvement over laborious grinds or pay-to-win mechanics. Absolver's combat kind of feels halfway between the simplicity of Assassin's Creed and the ingenuity of Sifu, so this is a team I hope to see truly flourish with their latest release, which is obviously a checks notes. A football game. Sifu was applauded as a genius game that told a simple but deep story and married it with an art style that feels perfectly suited. The mechanics of slow, controlled combat, parrying and improvising created a game tough but fair.
Until they patched it.
Uproar and Chaos Erupted as an accessibility feature removed the game's difficulty entirely. Sure, SloClap added a master difficulty in their May 2022 patch, but it came accompanied with a student mode which turned this brilliant, brutal game into child's play. Amongst some gamers, especially amongst completionists, this was an outrage! But that patch may actually explain a hell of a lot about Rematch, and why it is the way it is. I don't believe that Sifu patch is something that SloClap ever wanted to do. I may be wrong.
And if you want to learn more about SloClap or the history development of the game, then check out my Platinum Adventure that will be coming out in a couple of weeks, as that's how we're going to approach Platinum Adventures from now on. Completionism, to me, has always been about getting the very most out of any game I'm playing, and I want to follow that through by knowing as much about the games, the developers, the publishers, the characters, the world, the mechanics, the history as I can. And as I learn those things going through games, I'm going to share it all with you.
So what's wrong with it? Well, most importantly, this isn't even close to a football game. The Rocket League without cars truly is a fair and accurate description. Now, full disclosure, I'm not a big fan of Rocket League. Rocket League just irritates me. The whole thing is so grossly American, it really just irks me. Like Americans' approach to football. And it's not soccer, it's football. Our sport came first, we named it, it's our language, so shut up. And I also hate the five-a-side mode in FIFA that they called Volta. The neon-splashed minigames with dreadful stadiums with no walls or boundaries to the trophy grind tied to it. I do not miss Volta one little bit. But I absolutely adore Rush in FC 25. It is brilliant. It's fast-paced and excellently designed by a team that really do understand football properly. And yes, I know this is EA, but they do. I'm sorry, it's just clearly obvious. They understand the sport and they have experience to finally get this five-a-side football video game to a level where I really want a standalone game exactly like it. So I went into Rematch hopeful, but not over-expectant. The devs of Sifu with five-a-side football, and it looks cool. Okay.
And if you fancy joining us and want to boost with us and the House of L, then join our Discord server. The link is in the description. Everybody is welcome, everybody is invited, and everyone is wanted. We have an amazing community. It'd be great if you were a part of it.
Rematch has a grindy trophy list, and there does appear to be some RNG elements that could prove problematic. There's a bunch of accumulation-based achievements for goals, assists, saves, all that jazz.
Reaching level 30 is the big one, and it's going to be a completion breaker for many. But we will get to that later.
Assist with the keeper, score off the woodwork, nab a hat trick, some tutorial trophies that I totally blew off, and a bunch of specific in-game actions to perform, like scoring, assisting and saving in the same game, or be the MVP for the first time. And this is my first issue with the game. We don't call the best player on the pitch the MVP, we call the man of the match. That is not language associated with football, and immediately tells me that these developers and this company that published the game do not know a thing about football, and it only got worse from here. Nothing can be missable, of course, but many of these trophies are infuriatingly bugged. This isn't explicitly just on PS5, but far more noticeable there. Here is the list, and the red ones are the ones that we know for sure are bugged out for one reason or another right now.
Just far too many bugged trophies for a completionist or trophy hunter, isn't it?
Rematch has quick play or ranked matches. For now, quick play games are 3, 4 or 5 aside, while ranked are strictly 5v5.
No faith. Not today, thank you.
To play ranked, you need to reach level 5, but that won't take long. Sadly, the level progression is bugged for all PS5 owners. Luckily, Xboxers are popping both the Pro Bronzer for reaching level 10 and the Expert Silver for reaching level 30, so I suspect this may be an issue with Sony's half-assed trophy tracking system more than Rematch's incompetence. This is the only time I give them the benefit of the doubt, I'm not gonna lie. From here on out, it's brutal.
Now, I would be lying if I said that I didn't have any fun with the game at all. But unfortunately, this was at the game's expense as opposed to with the game.
What should be a cooperative team-based game that relies on understanding your role is in fact simply the world's biggest, dumbest golf game, where the goalkeeper is aiming for a hole-in-one every time he tees off from a goal kick. And 9 times out of 10 he gets it, because the game is just that bad. The pitches are too big, the ball physics are so unpredictable and unrealistic, the stamina mechanic is useless and utterly pointless as it replenishes so quickly, it just seems superfluous. Slide tackles are wild and brash even when in defensive stance. The dribble mechanic is truly awful, one of the worst gaming mechanics I've ever encountered in a sports game. You gotta hold L1 while tapping X to move the ball and beat players, or add an R1 to mix it up and perform rainbow flicks and bounce around looking really clever but losing the ball because you can't do anything with it afterwards unless you're gonna shoot with a volley, and I'll get to that. The volley mechanic is OP if you hit the target, but the camera control is so aggressive that I had to turn down the sensitivity just to stop the travel sickness I was getting, and I'm not joking. It moves so aggressively, it gives you whiplash. The gameplay feels out of sync with the player you're controlling and not even slightly intuitive. It feels like a game a year away from release, if I'm honest, but even with a year to work on it, I can't see any way that the fundamental mechanics will ever work cohesively, as they are utterly contradictory. Bugs make the experiences more frustrating than fun, as goalkeepers catch the ball behind the line but no goal is given. The ball hits the post and somehow a goal is given. If you find this video useful, then please drop us a like and comment what was helpful and what was distracting so we can improve our content for you. If you want to support us and the channel a little bit extra, check out our Patreon or channel memberships, which offers various awesome perks like getting your list reviewed, secret channels in our Discord, monthly wallpapers, the odd early access video, and lots more. Patrons and members very literally keep the ZXL lights on and gives us the ability to improve our software and tech to create the very best content that we can for you. Thank you all. The player base is largely responsible for exploiting these issues, but with each patch it just feels like they make everything worse. Yes, there is now far less goal-to-goal goals, but there's also far more players not actually playing the game, they're just standing in the opposition goal box waiting for a tap-in. The game feels as if not one single member of the team had any interest or knowledge about football, and it shows in its mechanics, spatial use, physics, stylization, and even its release date. The football season is over, but schools are still in session. FC 26 doesn't break out of EA's vault until mid to late September, so releasing Rematch now is just stupid. Wait for the end of the school year and drop it mid-July time, then build up the game and player base as the new season starts with that 6 weeks head start on EA. But they jumped the gun due to investor pressure, debt, licensing. I have no idea, but I will find out what happened to this game, because it feels like it was meant to be an online martial arts game with a football, not this Rocket League without cars. A game that was easy to pick up, impossible to master, much like Sifu, its predecessor, on release. That extra 6 weeks of work, I believe, could have made a massive difference, but much like Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was changed from a single player experience to a pointless online time wasting pile of bat doo-doo due to an interfering idiot with no clue what they were talking about, Rematch feels like the prodigal child of a passionate development team and the wish for a cash cow from a greedy, ignorant investor.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I think we're seeing this far too often, and as the spiraling cost of gaming just rises and rises and rises with game prices, console prices being the same as a PC, and subscription services just spiraling out of control.
What about you? What are your thoughts on Rematch? Was this unique and brilliant martial arts footy masterpiece turned sour by external influences? Or am I seeing conspiracy where there is just lameness? Shout out in the comments.
Plat play or pass? I don't play football games. Zack scarred me for life with FIFA, and I've already heard enough about this one too. Anyway, I've had a look, but I think I'd rather play Football Manager. I don't particularly want to play that either. Sports-related games? Not my thing unless it's Quidditch. Anyway, I'm not really a completionist, so let's ask our casual trophy hunter, Uncle Turtlebat, what he thinks of it.
So I've got to be honest, when I heard the Rematch was coming from a bunch of ex-Ubisoft Paris devs, I was really hoping for a feature-length version of Kung Fu from Rayman Legends, but what I wasn't expecting was, well, Rocket League with football players.
Rematch appears to be one of those games that was dramatically changed mid-production and forced out far too early by an external party. This leads to a convoluted mess. Hidden behind the Volto knockoff rubbish we received is the foundation of a really interesting game. Rematch was clearly designed as a martial arts game with a football, not the football game with B-movie martial arts-esque moves that was released. This detachment between vision and execution is felt everywhere in the game, and I cannot imagine these choices were made favourably by the developers of something so brilliant as Sifu. What could have been an addictive, brilliant online romp of fighting mechanics in a footy game is sadly the most disappointing thing to happen to football-loving gamers since EA announced a season pass model for the next crappy installment of EA FC, which was literally a couple of months ago, for goodness sake. What is most frustrating is that had the game been released 6 weeks later, right before the launch of the new league season, but still several months away from EA's arrival, then the game would have very likely have been drastically different, greatly improved, and had a huge audience desperate for it. It is abundantly clear that not one employee in that Parisian office actually watches football, and that is the most damning statement I could possibly make. This game isn't even as good as Volta was in the old FIFA games, and that was awful, but it doesn't even come close to the brilliant and addictive Rush introduced in FC 25. And honestly, I would much rather have Rush as a full game at full price than play more of Rematch, but sadly I have to try and platinum it, but you can save yourselves thanks to this video. The reality is that the game is dreadful on every level, and I cannot in good conscience recommend you play it. Unless you're Duxie14, my Faz bro, because he deserves it. But I do hope that the devs are able to refocus Rematch so it resembles more what it clearly wanted to be, and I can return to those grotesque Vice City looking stadiums to karate kick my way to victory as the devs originally envisioned. Or I'm completely wrong and this is what they wanted to make, but I just don't see that being possible. I really don't. Not these devs, they're really good. How did I get through the 15 hours I had already lost to this French-made atrocity, and how will I get that platinum? Well, with a little help from our awesome partners at Wraith. Now, my favourite supplier of energy and hydrate drinks, 200 milligrams of caffeine, 0 sugar, 30 calories, and 1 epic vibe. Flavours that have layers and not just a sickly sweet coloured water like some others. Complex flavours that excite the taste buds as much as it boosts energy and focus. Wraith is my energy drink of choice and has been for a long time, and right now I'm all about Voodoo Grape. This stuff is lush. Link in the corner and description. Use code ZXL at checkout and grab yourself a nice discount now. Casual gamers beware, unless you've got it on Game Pass or somehow nabbed a free copy, then spending money on this game right now is like paying the vet to kick your dog. Completionists avoid at all cost, as not only is this one of the buggiest releases in years in gameplay, but that goes double, nay triple, for the trophies and achievements. What does impress me with Rematch is that it is genuinely giving PS4 Cyberpunk and that hilariously dreadful Golem game a real run for their money in the worst game on day one of the last decade. ZXL does not recommend you play this game. Sorry, SloClap. Will the trophies and achievements be debugged so I can get the grindy buggy mess of a platinum, or will it languish on my PSMP list for eternity, unloved and unplattable? Be subbed, click the bell, and very soon you'll have your answer.
Be good to yourselves and each other.